All right, tonight on the show, we're taking a second run at Beau Schilling. Last time we talked to him, it was he was just getting into the NWT season. It's his rookie year on the tour. A lot has changed since then. Anyone who's watched walleye fish and watched the NWT has seen what Beau's been able to do. So we're going to get right into it and just ask him some questions about how it feels and the things that he's done in order to be number one in Angler of the Year in his rookie year. Beau, how's it going, man?
Good. How are you?
Good, man. Been a while since we talked.
Yeah, a little bit. Not terribly long, but it's been a little while. So
I'm gonna get the last time I think we saw each other was at the Gov Cup, and I came in after day one, and there you were waiting to load, and I go, "How'd you do?" And you go, "Well, that's better than we thought. I think we did okay." And then you carry 34 pounds on stage, and I'm like, "This sandbagging son of a gun!" Like I just stand there watching, going, what the heck, dude?
You don't want to be the guy who says you have more than you have. So I always just be like, yeah, I don't know. I think we did good. Because you never know with your scales nowadays. I've had it where they're a couple pounds heavy and a couple pounds light. So I think our scale actually said like we had around like 30 pounds or whatever, or 31 pounds. So I was just like, well, in case that's high, just like I think we did pretty good. I don't know. You don't ever want to be the guy who says you got more than you got.
Well, here's the deal. Hindsight's 20/20, but your scale could have been off by 13 pounds, and you guys still would have won. I mean, that's like, I think there's some room for error on the scales for you. So no, that's cool. It was really cool to watch. It was really, Russ and I were talking about, a lot of people, and we've talked about it since the Gov Cup and before it. But going into it, I really felt like 22 to 24 a day was going to be really strong, and it turned out it would be, but nobody really thought you guys were going to weigh 54, So that water was, that body was pretty tough. I felt so, and a lot of other people shared the same thing. 15, 16 pound bags are pretty easy to, one nice over, one decent over, and then good slots. But man, let's get into that. Just tell me, like, one of the things I've talked to people and they've asked is, you're pre-fishing. I'm going to get right into this. So when you're pre-fishing for any tournament, which that's what you're doing full time, those last couple of days, are you trying to catch fish, or are you just making sure the fish are there because when it comes time, you're going to have a good shot at catching them?
It depends. It really depends on the scenario. Like Gulf Cup pre-fish, I was on a lot of big fish, just they weren't biting real well, and I knew they were giant walleyes, and so I never really stopped casting. I mean, if you don't want somebody to like see you casting or whatever, then you don't cast. But I'm not really that worried about catching them in pre-fish as long as I can see them in pre-fish. That's usually more than enough for me. Like during Gulf Cup pre-fish, I only caught 1 over 28 all week before the tournament, but it was also 105 and sunny and dead flat every day. And then we get out there for takeoff day one, and it's kind of cloudy and windy, and you're like, well, this could definitely help the bite a lot, because when it's that hot and that dead still for wind wise, they're all just feeding at night usually, and because it's just cooler and move around a little more, So I mean, all them fish were feeding at night, and then we had one window where we got lucky enough for the tournament. It was cloudy and windy, which obviously helped the bite tremendously, because I was seeing the same thing you were seeing, like 22 to 24 pounds a day. It was going to be really tough to beat. Like, we were going out hoping for 22 pounds, honestly. I mean, if the big ones didn't fire, we had a couple backup plans that we were going to go try to get 22 pounds, like you were saying. And 23 a day would have won it, That's right. A little 22 and a half, maybe even. So,
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So for you, like when are you pretty much in talking to you in the past, you're pretty simple when it comes to tackle and stuff, right? So if you're not trying to catch those fish during pre-fish, do you have just your staple like lures that you're going to throw, and they're going to fire on one of these, let's say 2 or 3 or 4 different things. And if they're not, then they're not firing at all. I mean, is that an approach you take?
Yeah, that's definitely valid. I throw about 4 different things, and I mean, if they're not biting one of them, you're just probably not going to catch them. I mean, you don't have to. Usually, when the fish are going to bite on a wahoo, they'll hit about anything. But there was a little bit of more finesse, because the fish are just so fat right now. There's more bait in a wahoo than I've ever seen in my life. So now more than ever, it definitely matters a little bit more than baits. But usually with baits on a walleye. I mean, if they're gonna bite, they'll bite about anything. It's just what you're confident in and what you got dialed in. So
Yeah, presentation. I think I was talking to a buddy of mine, Chris Nelson. He's kind of a legend, so you probably know of him. But anyway, we were talking today, and he's like, it's got to be presentation because our feelings, and we may be guessing way off on this, right? But jig wraps, finishers, plastics of some sort are kind of the staples, right? Maybe some hyper rattles thrown in there. But if we're all throwing that same stuff and not getting them to go, but you're throwing something, and I'm not asking you to tell us, but you did say you're throwing jig wrap X as you caught your big fish. So we weren't throwing those because we couldn't get our hands on them. But prior to this, you were dominating. So let's just take jig wrap X out of the equation. If we're all throwing the same stuff, but you're catching fish on it, it's got to be presentation. I mean, it's just absolutely got to be.
Yeah, there's a lot about what you're confident in. I mean, so like I grew up throwing jig wraps, and last year we were lucky enough to win the last year's Governor Cups on jig wraps, and there was boats all around me, and they were kind of struggling to catch them. But I think the difference between me and like the other guys is like I move my baits way slower than anybody else. Like, I mean, my jig wrap cadence is literally this is all it is. It's just. It's not real snappy or whatever. I mean, there is times to get snappy with them. It really depends. Like if you cast down at a fish and you're coming down and that fish is firing up right away, then you can be a lot more aggressive with it. But if they're coming super slow, I mean, you just gotta slow it down and really talk them into it. It's not always about fast and quick and flashy. I slow my jig wrap down a lot more than most guys, I think. So.
Cool. Good info. I'm sure a lot of people, including myself, love to hear that. It's good to hear things like that are maybe helpful to people to be more successful on the water. So, Gov Cup, let's rewind a little bit. You come into NWT this year. I mean, a lot of people are talking about like you've got the potential to really do something. And here we are after the regular season. You're sitting first in Angler of the Year by 24, 25 points. Haven't finished outside of the top 5 in anything you fished this entire year. Like what is it like? Because I know you have to work hard to do it. So, I'm going to take luck out of the equation. There's no luck involved in this, right? Like it's just not it. What does it feel like to apply yourself, knowing coming into this that you got a lot of confidence, you're really good at what you do, and now you're reaping the fruits of that? How do you feel about this?
It's just surreal, man. I mean, I love fishing, and don't get me wrong, I put every minute I have available into fishing. Like no matter how good you're doing, I always tell everybody you gotta stay mad at them. You gotta keep it rolling. So I mean, I try to be as early as I can on the water, and most days I'm the last guy off. It's just it's a lot of time spent, and you just learn so much more. Like I've been trying.
I think we lost Beau here for a minute. Let's see if we can get him back on. We'll give it a minute here. Beau probably got disconnected or lost the battery. But, from our standpoint, I'm a huge fan of this. I'm a South Dakota guy that, has watched Beau over the last few years. And so seeing this and hearing this firsthand after this year is kind of cool it's really cool, actually. I'm rooting for a lot of guys, but definitely Beau's up there. So, it's good to hear this from him and get his side of the story. There you are. You're back.
Gosh, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I can see you, but I can't hear you.
Can't hear me now or no? Nothing? Let me
text me if I should do something.
Yep. Well, I'll do that right now. We're going to get this handled real quick here. He's got to leave the studio. Gotta love technology. Can you hear me now?
Leave the studio, click on the link again. Okay.
We'll see if this works. Anyway, yeah, it's cool to hear this stuff firsthand. So, it's hopefully he can, continue to share tips. That slow cadence with the jig wrap is something that I've never thought of. I mean, I've tried it, but not, to that extent. So
Sorry.
we got you now?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I had do not disturb on, I thought, and then a call came through, and I was like, gosh, I think this happened last time, didn't it?
No, I don't know. I think your battery almost died last time. You're like, oh crap, I got to plug this thing in. But,
Yeah, I'm charging, but my mom called me. I forgot. I thought we were good now though. It's on do not disturb now. Sorry, where were we?
Yeah, we were talking about like cadence and like, or no, how you feel, putting in the work and having it pay off to put you in the position where, you're basically one tournament away from like a hell of you've already, that's not true. You've had a hell of a year. One tournament away from making it like just a Hall of Fame year on tour for sure.
Yeah, it's like I said, it was pretty surreal. I try to keep it rolling and not think about it too much and just do everything the same as what I have been doing. But I mean, at night you're laying down, you're thinking about, oh, if I get top 25, I win angler of the year. So
yeah.
It obviously a little nerve wracking, and don't get me wrong, you still got to expect Eric to go win or get top 5. That guy's an animal. So there's still one more tournament to put everything together and whatnot. We're actually, me and Jaden are out here on Skakwe right now pre-fishing for the partial aim events we got coming up this weekend. So yeah, it's kind of nice having these tournaments before the championships, kind of get your minds off things, just keep fishing and whatnot, and not. But yeah, it's a blessing, and couldn't be happier how this year's went. I've had a lot of, you said it, luck's not involved, but there was definitely a couple things that went my way this year that probably shouldn't have. So there's definitely some luck involved, and I'll lay my head down at night and thank the good Lord above, because I've had a hell of a year.
Yeah, we talked a little bit going into this last one, and you were talking about mechanical issues. I mean, anybody who owns a boat, period, and maybe even is just a weekend fisherman, knows that things break, right? But when you're putting, 40 or 50 hours a week on a boat, or whatever you're putting, things are going to break more often. So it can get frustrating, especially when there's so much on the line going into a tournament. One of the things that stuck out is you said, I think it was after day 2 of this last one, you said you went through 2 sets of batteries. Was that this last tournament on one day?
Yep. Yeah. So I'm running 4 36-volt batteries now, and I was running 2 100 amp hour 36 volts, and now I switched to 4 36 volts, just to make sure that I was getting as much power as I possibly could and whatnot. And I'm a big advocate for that, is running your trolling motor on 10. And a lot of guys think it might be harder on your trolling motor and your equipment and stuff, but it's just about how fast you'll be able to move around and cast that many more fish a day, And
Yeah.
I probably do need a new trolling motor by the end of the year, but it's it's definitely a key thing in my game is covering as much water as I can. I never turn my trolling motor off 10. There's very few situations where it ever will come off 10. I mean, the only thing is if you're fishing like super shallow and you can't move that fast because you miss stuff. But like when you're 20 feet, 15 feet or deeper, I mean, your trolling motor should never come off 10.
Yeah, that's something too. Like, so that me and my buddy Chris were talking about today is we're trying to figure out, so Chris has fished the Gov Cup for like 22 years, right? It's been his number one thing to win. And then you come out of this tournament and we all talk and go 45. Yeah, I got to have 45. And then you guys weigh that and everybody's rethinking what they're doing. Like anyone who wants to have a chance in these tournaments where you're fishing in it, I'm speaking for myself and friends, like we're rethinking, we're missing something big. You know what I mean? Because you can't just go out there and stomp on people by 14 pounds and us not be missing. And me, it was way more than that. But here's the other thing. You could have just finished the tournament after day 1 and finished in like 42nd place or something and beat 158 teams, or it was just something stupid. So it's got us thinking, all right, so you look at the top 10, right? You look at the top 10, you look at Jaden winning, right? And it's a majority of young guys. Like, you're one of the youngest, maybe the youngest on tour, you and Jaden, right? And then everybody's like in their 20s, right? Gage Gordon and even Eric and all these guys are really young. So is it something that your generation has an inherent advantage because you've grown up in like a technology age where live scopes are all you know. Well, you fished before live scope, but you know what I'm saying, where technology is just more connected to you, more natural for people your age, where that's caused the push in live scope to make it a little more advantageous for the younger guys.
Yeah, there's definitely something to that, and actually, in my case scenario, I'm probably the worst young guy you ever met behind a screen. Like, I don't even know how to run a computer. My mom sends emails for me still, like I have no idea what I'm doing half the time. I only know my live scope settings and stuff. That's about the only screen I can run pretty well. But yeah, I'm actually
I don't want to hear that, man. I was hoping you'd say like, yeah, I'm a genius on these phones, like everybody else my age.
Most of these guys are wizards with that stuff, and I'm pretty bad at it, But
Yeah.
it's definitely something that's easier for young guys to pick up, just because they're growing up with it. And I mean, it'd be the same thing as if the guys in their 40s or 50s. I mean, if they had it when they were kids, they'd be doing the same thing. It's just it's what's that saying? It's hard to teach old dogs new tricks or whatever. They can learn, but it might be a little tougher for them. So it's
Yeah.
definitely there's definitely something like you were saying.
Yeah.
It's just kids and their toys. That's
Yeah.
all it is. That's what I tell everybody. I'm just a kid with my toy. So
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No, and then you get into the conversation or the thought process of, just being able to recognize things faster, process things faster, what you're seeing on the live scope as you're panning and moving along at 10. I mean, moving at 10 for someone who doesn't run live scope is, 10 is like not even a thought for a lot of people. Like that's way too fast, but, I run mine 10, but the whole point is if you're able to process those things moving at 10, which our boats, are probably 3.5 miles an hour. If you're on 10, 3, right? Now, if you're panning, that's going to go slower. You're probably 2.5 to 3, somewhere in there. But if you're on the trees, let's say you're on the trees on the river, or you're on the breaks and you're panning and seeing and picking things up in 30, 40, 50 feet of water, being able to process, all right, that's a walleye. That on a tree, let's say that fish is ready, or that's in a position where that fish is looking to eat. Whereas you're moving past a lot of the fish that maybe you don't feel are ready, or you don't have a high probability of catching in that moment.
yeah, there's definitely something to that too. Like and when you're moving on 10, you gotta be able to know what you're looking at, and that's why I always tell guys, I'm like, put your toy motor on 10 and learn how to look at it. Doing that, like it's a lot easier if you have to learn. Like just force yourself to recognize those things and whatnot. And I mean, I lift my poles up so I can go 4 mile an hour even when I'm flying around. So like I'm going like this, and I do miss one here and there, but I think I make up for it how many more I get to come by a day. So there's definitely something to, and a lot of it's just like time spent. Go fly around for as many hours as you can on 10, and you'll understand. It's just like it's something that comes with it. It's not like you can ride a bike when you're born. It's just something you learn over time, and it learns just to become natural eventually. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just like a second nature to me now. Like I don't know if my trolling motor. I bet my trolling motor speed's stuck on 10, to be honest with you. But
Yeah. Nice. Heck yeah. No, that's cool. I mean, it's changed the game, but and then the other thing too that's really cool about this is you got, you had a wahi, right? Which is we all know that's your home body, right? Like right in your backyard. And then you go to these other places where, you'd never fished a couple of them before, right? Like you'd never fished Green Bay or Erie, right?
Green Bay, yeah, Beta Knock area. I've never been to. I mean, I went to Green Bay once when I was like 10, but I don't remember anything. So
Yeah. Yeah. So you're basically just applying. And so in those situations, my guess is that if you're in, let's say 20 or 30 feet or less, now you're having to sort, right? Like you're just throwing to fish that are 8 or 9 pounds rather than 7 or 8 pounds, right? Is that kind of the approach there?
yeah, so like I always try to kind of like Erie. Erie's a beast of her own. Erie's not really a good place to learn anything because there's just kind of walleyes everywhere there. So it's just you can there's obviously some structure and some spots that hold fish, but a lot of times you're just chasing the mud around or whatnot. And but like most places like Beta Knock or Green Bay, like I'm just going trying to figure out a pattern, like where they want to be with what winds and whatnot, and just locating fish in general first. Like first day I'm there, I always like to catch 30 fish, 40 fish, but I mean throughout the rest of the week, after I get confident on getting them to bite, and whatnot, I'm not catching 3 to 5 fish a day. I'm just trying to find them and only cast the ones that you're looking at, and then to know what you're looking at. The same thing as like the trolling motor, you just got to spend as much time as you possibly can. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't really matter because you just wanted like 5 fat over 27, 28 inches, so it wasn't such down to like you can only have 2 overs tournament, but like I wasn't casting at anything under 28 inches probably the second day. Day one I was a little more open to casting just because I wasn't seeing that many. And then day two on Green Bay, I just kind of fished. I ran all the way up to the border, and just fished all new areas and just kind of ran into a buttload of hogs. And it was a fun day because we got to cast at giants all day long. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, going back to Oahe, I didn't even think about this until now, but your from day one, I got on day two. That rancher dude, I can't think of his name, Joe from Montana. I think he's from Montana.
Yep.
So anyway, he goes, I go to pick him up at the church right there, and I go, hey, you were with Beau yesterday, huh? This is my first thing I say to him. And I shouldn't have said this, but it is what it is. I go, you were with Beau yesterday, huh? And he goes, yeah. And I go, well, I'm about to show you how it's really done. Yeah, just after you just weighed like 26 or something the day before, 20, some massive bag, and I weighed like 4 slots or something. I was just like, what the heck, dude? This guy, I feel bad for this guy. Like I'm gonna try to help him, but man, that was just great. What's the draw of that?
Yeah, that day one was crazy, and then day two I got my butt kicked by the slots. So that's how she goes sometimes. Sometimes you're the hammer, sometimes you're the nail, and day two I was the nail. So
yeah, for sure. For sure. So we talked last time, and you weren't really like set on different rods, but I noticed you're running JTs now. You've had a lot of success with the JTs. You like the sensitivity and the backbone and everything you need.
Yeah, I never really threw crawlers before this year, so I really didn't catch 3 overs on crawlers before this season started. So I didn't really care how they bit. It didn't really matter as much because I was watching them bite and making them bite. So you can kind of know when they bite. And then with the crawlers now, it's your rod definitely plays a ginormous role into it. Your ability to like shake your crawler properly and your ability to keep fish pinned and whatnot, because it's not always the bite you're expecting when you're walleye fishing. Like on Green Bay, they come up behind it and you're sitting there and I'm just shaking my crawler tail, and sometimes you're hitting the butt of your rod, to get it to shake even faster, and you still like you can't feel the bite. Like most of the time they would just turn their head, and I'm just like, that's crazy. And with that sensitive a rod, you can just like barely feel a little pressure on, because they just come forward and barely grab it, so they're pushing it forward, so you don't feel a bite. They're like slacklining the tail of the crawler, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
it's like a crazy soft bite, at least the ones I was on anyway. And them JT, I run the JTX Mag Light, and they just they don't make a better crawler rod. Funny have it, the last 2 tournaments have been both 1-on-1, so that was pretty cool to see. And just me and Joe reached out, and I was already throwing them before he reached out, and I was like, yeah, I gotta do something with you guys, because I'm a really big fan of them. And like I said, I never threw crawlers before and now it makes you appreciate what a good rod does. It's actually crazy. So.
Well, I suppose like those being that Mag Light is a little bit slower action tip, right? So I'm guessing like that's probably better and less likely for the fish to feel it too. So you're probably getting them to pick it up a little harder too.
Yeah, that's for sure too. And just the way you're able to shake. So like when I'm crawler fishing, there's 2 ways I fish them. I fish them up or down, and I always try to take them up first. So like the action, we throw like a full crawler or whatever, and being able to like snap your rod tip without doing nothing. Like this is my hand when I'm shaking a crawler, like it's barely moving, but my tip's just up on the rod going like this, and it's just shaking the tail of that crawler just exactly how you want it. Because some walleyes will come up and they'll just sit there, and we've seen it happen where they'll just nose it. They won't open their mouth. They'll just hit it. And then like you start shaking it, and then they'll start barely grabbing the tail. It's the craziest thing ever. I was not a finesse fisherman before this year, so I added that to to my skills, I guess we can say, because that was completely new to me at Big Bay throwing crawlers. I actually told Jaden Wendell, and he'll be here in a minute, but you can ask him. I told him crawlers didn't work till we got to Big Bay, so I was not a believer, but I believe a little more now. So
yeah, that's definitely something that, with live scoping and like just, throwing to specific fish. I haven't gone deep into the crawler world. But, seeing it done now, Tom Wynn obviously is a big crawler guy. Max is a huge crawler guy. It's definitely something that wins, so it's guys got to pay attention to that crawler and jig and crawler setup for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot more, it's just going to get better too, because with the amount of pressure and stuff that's been getting put on all the fish with live scope nowadays and everything, it's just I feel like it's gonna get more and more finesse as time goes on. At least in the bigger bodies of water where the walleyes, I mean, they'll be living like, how old do they get? 15 years, So I think it'll get more finesse until it doesn't, and they'll either get used to it and they won't care about live scope, or it'll get a little more finesse. So whatever it should be, I don't mind. I don't mind that either. If they're all suicidal, as we call the ones that want to eat all the time, it wouldn't be that much fun. So I kind of like a little challenge for catching fish.
Yeah, that's what guys got to elevate, because we all have the same tools now. Anyone can go out and put live scope on their boat and see the fish, right? Before, it was in the world of like pulling cranks or bottom bouncers. You could see the fish on 2D, and then we had side scan, right? But you still had to get them to bite. You couldn't just basically perch up on a fish and cast to it or experiment and see the fish's reaction, So we all kind of have that same technology now. So it's the game's got to be elevated, which happens,
Yeah, for sure. It makes us better fishermen at the same time, It keeps it challenging. I think if they all bit, people would be bored of it now, and it wouldn't be that much fun. So I like it when it's tough. It makes it fun.
Yeah, makes it more rewarding. I know I've gotten my teeth kicked in on a wahi a lot, and it's just that, sometimes you have just a one fish day, and that one big fish makes it all worth it. It's like, God, I just threw to 20 fish and couldn't get one to go, or missed a couple, and then it's early afternoon, you get one, and it definitely makes it more rewarding. That's for sure.
Yeah, trust me, I got my teeth kicked in on wahi more than anybody probably, but I think after getting your teeth kicked in enough, you just put something together, because I did it for a year straight. I didn't fish any tournaments and just live scoped, out on wahi, and there were a lot of nights where I never even caught a fish. So you learn so much in those moments, and it teaches you that much more. So that's why it's kind of a Cole the Diamond story, It's just you start with nothing, and you learn it into everything kind of deal. So
yeah, absolutely, for sure. So what are your thoughts going into the championship? I know you got to finish higher than 25th. I mean, you're on a body of water that you're pretty familiar with. Are you approaching it just like any other tournament, like putting your best foot forward, or is there a different feeling now?
I talked to a lot of people about it, thought about it a lot, slept on it a lot, not slept thinking about it a lot. It's only been a couple days, but I think I'm just gonna go and fish it how I fish every other tournament. It's kind of been working for me this year, so I don't know why I'd go and try and play it safe. Just go out, regular game plan. And I mean, obviously in the back of my head, I'll have a couple spots I can run to and throw a limit in the box if something like that were to happen, or if the weather gets crazy or something. You never know. You never know the situation, or if you're having like a boat issue or something. So
sure,
I'm just gonna go fish how I normally do, I think. And if there's nothing going with a couple hours left, I'll probably go throw a limit in.
Yeah, for sure. Sounds like a good game plan. You got any tips for the listeners? I mean, this show so far has been full of tips, but is there anything specific? I mean, it's pretty hard to ask now, but
yeah, I just my best advice, probably, that not a lot of guys you hear a lot, is just try new things, explore. Don't chase bites around. Try to find your own thing, and I think that's probably why me and Jaden have had our success so far this year, is because we don't know any of these bodies of water we've been to besides Oahe on the NWT so far. Like, neither of us have been to Green Bay, Bay to Knock, or Erie. We we go try new things, we go learn things that nobody knows yet. And
Mm.
I think that's a big key to our game plan most of the time is we just try to figure something out that other guys don't know and try to find areas that other people aren't fishing, because nothing better when you find a spot loaded and there's no boats within miles. So
Yeah.
that'd probably be my best advice. Just go try new things. There's always something out there that nobody else knows about yet. And if you are able to figure something out that is a key role in your tournament days, I mean, that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to figure something out new.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I know that's always a good feeling when, let's just take Hawaii, for instance. Obviously the trees are pounded hard, but not as many people fish breaks or fish flats or, life scoping, right? So I think for me, that's been a big thing is getting outside of my comfort zone, which is the trees, and trying other things. And then if you land one and, it makes it all worth it, and you feel like you've accomplished more than just doing the same old thing and getting results.
Yeah, that's don't be. My dad used to call me a one-trick pony when I started fishing. Go learn new things, make yourself learn something new. It's really important to evolve your game, I'd say, because once you learn new things, you can apply it to other things, and it's like a train, a domino train. It just it'll just keep rolling forever, and you'll keep learning. So yeah, just go try new things, exactly like you said. Like, go out of your comfort zone, try to learn something that nobody else knows or you don't know yet. It's so rewarding when you do figure it out too. So
heck yeah. What's your dad been saying with this year, how it's gone? I mean, I know there's been a lot of razzing between you guys, because the first tournament of the year, I mean, you guys both top 10'd it, right? Like, he was, right?
he got
Yeah.
third. Daddy got third, and I got fourth, I believe, the first NWT of the year. So a lot
Yeah.
of trash talk after that one. He was letting me hear about it, but I was able to get him in the past couple, and I'm hearing about it on already. He's coming for me on the championship. He said he's got a bone to pick, so he's yeah. He nice thing about his situation, he was like, yeah, I don't care. I'm gonna try to win it or zero. So that's really honestly, it's probably a really comfortable position to be in.
Yeah.
You're okay with either, and there's a pretty good chance of both happening. So it's about 50-50, that you can do real well or bomb, and that's how Sakakawea has been fishing this far this year. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be a lot of zero or heroes because it's 5 fish, no call event. So yeah, it'll be a blast. Though I love Sakakawea. We actually went out today, had a great day, and had a couple big ones, couple mid okay ones. So the aim event should be pretty fun this weekend.
Yeah, it's pretty cool that you and your dad both qualified. I mean, that's just really cool. He hasn't fished it in how long? 20 years?
15 probably, yeah, somewhere in there. I want to say in like
2012 maybe, or 2013?
2012. That, well, however long ago that was. Yeah, 14 years or so. Or no, that's it's 14 years. I'm right.
That's a really good side story that he was able to show out. So
yeah,
cool.
And he didn't think he was gonna make it because he kind of on Big Bay he kind of made a really risky run, didn't pay off, and it was really cool to see him make it. Either way, he was pretty pumped, and he won't quit talking about it. He acts like one day he says he's ready to retire, but I don't think he's ready. I think he loves this stuff still. So
Yeah.
So yeah, we got the whole team here. We'll have Jaden, my dad, and myself, obviously. So it'll be a fun week. I'm thinking about getting in the MWC on bidder. No, we weren't gonna do it, but
Yeah.
I might hop in it with a buddy and see what a guy can figure out in a day or two there, and then come back out here and get ready for the championship. So
Yeah. Yeah, and then the next weekend you got the Whiskey and Walleye tournament, man.
I'm actually going to Lake of the Woods.
Yeah. So I was talking to a couple buddies that are fishing that little tournament we're throwing together, and I go, hey, I invited Beau, and they're all freaking great. Fishing for second. so they're going to be relieved to hear that you're not going.
Yeah, we're going to the Warrior Boat Shootout. So
okay, cool.
Yep.
Heck yeah. No, that's awesome. Yeah, I saw your dad at the AFCO on Saturday. He was there for the rules meeting and everything on Friday, and then he fished Saturday. He was taking people around, and then I was like, God, shouldn't he be out at Oconto? And then I think he went out on Sunday, right? He missed the second day of the AFCO and went out there, and yeah, it was cool.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. Well, cool, Bo. We won't take too much of your time. Thanks for jumping on again. Appreciate it. It's good to check in with you. I mean, I follow you, so I know exactly what's going on, but it's cool to, for our listeners to hear it from your perspective and for you to share the tips and all that stuff. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, and if anybody ever has questions, feel free to reach out. Anything, Instagram, Facebook, or whatever. I try to get back to everybody. So, yeah. Thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, man. Good talking to you.
Yeah, you too.
See ya.
Bye.